When we look at the mental piece, it is truly the limiting factor to performance. And where it really starts on my end is the coaching. And one thing that I like to talk about is if I was to take 10 different coaches, but I was to magically clone the athlete 10 times and give all those coaches the same program. So same program, same athlete, 10 different coaches. I would bet my career that we get 10 different results. And the reason is the way the coach engages and interacts with the athlete from a mindset perspective is the limiting factor in that example. Therefore, how we develop extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation, how we corral focus within a training session, how we can engage an athlete to the point that they don't even need us, that, as I like to say, we can hand the keys to the car back over them. Whether we're talking NFL Combine or an athlete preparing to play their sport, I'm not necessarily on the sideline with them. So everything I do, keyword here, needs to transfer. And oftentimes transfer of training is limited by the athlete's ability to do it on their own. So my ability to engage, empower, specifically through intrinsic motivation and how I go about coaching them, and also how they go about coaching themselves and what they bring to the table as a consummate professional, absolutely is a limiting factor. And oftentimes it's the coaching strategy that I use to teach an athlete to own how they move. The sport absolutely is an underlying theme, right? But many people think that everything we do has to be sport specific, and that's not the case. Oftentimes the limiting factors the athlete has don't always relate specifically to their sport. The sport probably caused them, but what they need to do from an exercise perspective may be far different than the sport themselves. What people have to remember is that athletes' performance, we're blessed to work with some of the top athletes in the world. They are brilliant at their skill set. So who am I to say I need to make you a better football player? For us, it's about the athlete within the football player and the person within the athlete. And we really try to address the person and the athleticism, right? Because that's what, from a longevity standpoint, is going to be key. But I still, in the back of my mind, need to understand relevance. Going back to the question on mental, they still need to visually see the value of what we're doing. So we still want to tie in how we're developing them as an athlete, but still every single session we're going to reintegrate, even if it's just during the conditioning, energy system development portion of it, football specific skills, so they can feel, touch, and realize how working as an athlete from a movement perspective transfers to them as a player within whatever sport. And then when we look at males and females in terms of their ability to adapt, train, and what they need, we are going to treat them as absolute equals. How their body adapts in terms of things like muscle growth, nervous system adaptation, from a relative perspective, they adapt the same, but in absolute values, men tend to adapt a little bit faster. But oftentimes, actually, movement capabilities, female athletes take to it significantly faster than males. We tend to find that their focus can be a little bit better at times, and their movement quality can be a little bit better at times as well.